Hey beauty cats, it's Jessie Cat from Jessie Cat's Medi-Spa. So we're going to work on building on the exercises that we've been doing to date. So they are the fundamental exercises that make up the Pilates method. Those were lateral breathing, learning to breathe up into our upper rib cage and come up through pelvic floor and lower abdominals to expel that breath. That was lateral breathing. Being able to hold on our lower abdominals if we wanted to, say about 10-20%, so that we could breathe into our rib cage whilst doing an exercise. That's the point of lateral breathing. So I know I was teaching you, breathe up into your upper rib cage. So at that point your pelvic floor is down, it's relaxed. Those muscles that would stop you from urinating, those muscles are relaxed. And now on the breath out, I draw up and inside through pelvic floor, turning on my transverse abdominals, my lower abdominals, which wrap around my back. Also working rectus abdominis to push that breath out of my body. But throughout the work we do together, you will learn how to hold on, just say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% of pelvic floor, and be able to work through your lower abdominals, hold those whilst you continue to breathe. So that was the point of lateral breathing. Then we moved on to a neutral pelvis, which is when hip bones and pubic bone are perfectly aligned, yeah? But more importantly, when you're laying down in a supine position or in a laying down position on the mat, you want to be keeping a neutral spine. So I'm naturally quite lordotic. Yeah, I like ducky bum to push out my booty, which my husband likes, but my lower back doesn't like. So so that's my natural position. So I have to think up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, and you see me now not arching through my lower back. And I use my abdominals to correct that. So I have to think about that all day long. Otherwise, my tummy goes off, my booty goes out, so these suckers aren't working, these aren't working, my tummy, and you know what is working? My hip flexors and the fronts of my thighs. So that gets very tight, these get weak, and it can all go into our lower back. So we were talking about holding a neutral pelvis and a neutral spine in a laying down position, and then going into imprinting, which is when we used our lower abdominals, drawing them on as strongly as we could, which allowed our lower back to gently draw towards the mat. It's not the point of the exercise, but it's what happens. We get to release our lower back through the imprinting exercise. And then we moved into a pelvic curl, which is when we work the booty, work the booty, work the booty. And more specifically, coming up through crease at the bottom. So I've got a big bum, but it's a lazy bum. So it doesn't like to work. That means I can get a lot of tension through my lower back. So turning on my hip extensors, coming up from crease at the bottom, working through the backs of my legs and my booty, and making sure to control my abdominal connection helps me all day long in my clinic as I perform my work. So we learn on the mat how to control our body, how to keep our shoulder complex nice and stable whilst we work through the lower body, or how to work our lower body and keep our upper body nice and relaxed. We learn to separate our hips from our legs, so be able to use our legs and keep the hips nice and stable. So that's what the point of Pilates is to enable you to have more control of your body, which is why Joseph Pilates actually called it controlology. Controlology. A little bit of a mouthful, but that's what he did call it. And yes, it was a man that came up with the Pilates method, so it's not just fancy stretching for girls, boys. It's a very serious method of exercises that enables you to gain full control of your body and do whatever it is that you love doing better. So today we're going to go into a chest lift, but we're going to do that after we've done single leg lift, and then we go into spine twist supine, and then we're going to roll like a ball and we will do some side overs. So we'll start to touch upon the repertoire of exercises that are seated. At the moment, we're just mastering the fundamentals that are all in a supine position, which is just a fancy way of saying laying down on the mat. All right, so I've gone red today, which means my hands are red, everything's red, so I'll take advantage of this while I can because I've just sprayed it all red. So if you see nice pink hands or pink on the mat, that would be why. Let's get started. So first we're going to go down to the mat. We may as well start to move in a Pilates way. So we are going to find our stacked position, our aligned position. So ankles underneath knees, underneath hips. So remember, I like to be quite lordotic, ducky bum, not use my abs, not use my bum. I'm going to turn on lower abdominals, lower abdominal, lower abdominals, lower abdominals. I'm doing that by lifting up through the muscles that would stop me from urinating. That helps to correct that position. I imagine I have my back up against an imaginary wall and I'm pushing through. Big toe, little toe and heels. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I'm pushing through big toes, little toes and heels. Okay, and I'm just getting that lovely position where I'm stacked tall and I imagine a string coming up through the top of my back. I'm going to go soft chin to chest. I'm going to draw up and inside through the abdominals and I'm going to come down, 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 down to the mat and walk my way out. Briefly, I'm going to go through a plank position, nice and tall, knees on the floor and down into a rest pose. Just get a nice stretch. I'm going to come up all the time. I'm thinking drop pelvic floor and then come up through pelvic floor every time I go to move. I don't care if you open the fridge and you're reaching for a carton of milk. I want you to think about coming from up and inside, right through your core, whenever you move, whether it be an arm position or whether it be you lifting your knee towards your chest. You want it to come from the center. You want a strong center. And we're going to come into a laying down position now. So, feet together, toes apart, heels apart, ankles underneath knees, underneath hips. And I'm going to come down. Oh, I am lifting through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals. Now pushing into my feet and I come down into a laying down position. Beautiful. So, I'm just going to be where I hope you can see my tummy so that we can focus on keeping that lovely neutral pelvis, arms into the back of the mat and head, slight chin to chest. If you feel that you're looking this way, guys, I want you to pop a folded towel underneath your head so that you're actually drawing slightly chin to chest. Okay? Beautiful. And push into the backs of the arms, push into the feet. Now we're going to find that neutral pelvis. Heels of the hands on the hips, fingertips on the pubic bone. So I naturally will collapse through my lower back and I'm in an imprint. My pubic bone is higher than my hip bone. So I placed a glass of water on my, within my lower abdominal area. That glass of water would tip towards me. So I lift up through pelvic floor, the muscles that would stop me from urinating, and I imagine a string pulling my tailbone away. And now I'm able to maintain more of a alignment through my hip bones and pubic bones. So I'm in a neutral pelvis. And I could just get a hand underneath the small of my back, yeah? So I imagine it, my cutest, fluffiest kitten underneath the small of my back, and I don't want to squash it. Arms down, press my arms into the mat. I've got a slight nod, chin to chest. If you find your head is falling back, then get a folded a folded towel and place it underneath your head until your spine is nicely aligned. And you've got a slight nod, chin to chest, and you're looking more forward than backwards. It's a breath in to prepare, up into my rib cage. On the breath out, I come up through my pelvic floor. I don't move through this complex. and turn on my transverse abdominals. I squeeze, crease of the bottom, and I hinge that leg up to a tabletop position. I like to flex my foot because that enables me to get my very lazy bum to work. I check on the breath in as I allow that knee to slide towards my chest and the leg bone slides into the hip pocket. I check that I'm not hiking through my hips. I'm staying perfectly aligned. On the breath out, I think bum, 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 bum. And I squeeze that booty until that foot returns to the mat, hopefully from where I picked it up. It's a breath in to prepare. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals come on, and I squeeze the booty of my left booty cheek, crease of the bottom. I, on my breath out, allow that knee to draw towards my chest a little bit more. Breath in, I allow that leg bone to slide into the hip pocket. I make sure my hips have not moved. I flex my foot, breath out, booty, 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 allows me to return my foot back to the mat from where I got it. Breath in to prepare, upper rib cage. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, booty, booty, booty. Pick up that booty with your abs, Yes, 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 yes. I flex the foot because that allows me to turn on my glutes a little bit more. Breath in, I allow that knee to slide towards my chest. The leg bone slides into the hip pocket. I'm not hiking through the hips, and breath out, booty, 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 tummy, 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 booty, 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 tummy, tummy, tummy. Foot returns to the mat from where I got it. Breath in to prepare. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals. That's what I want to feel first. I come up through those muscles that would stop me from urinating. I use the tummy muscles and the booty to bring that leg up into a tabletop position. I flex the foot. Breath in, I let that knee slide towards me a little bit more. Breath out, booty, 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 booty. So even on the breath out, guys, I've not completely dropped my pelvic floor. I need to maintain a strong abdominal connection through all of that exercise. So this is when we're going to talk about lifting pelvic floor 100% and then letting it drop a little bit, but still maintaining a connection that allows me to use my transverse abdominals effectively. Here we go again. Breath in to prepare, breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, tummies on, bum, 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 tum, 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 bum, bum, tum, tum, up into a tabletop position. Have my hips moved? No. Breath out. Crease of the bottom, tum, 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 tum. Still need lots of abs. Even though I'm breathing out, the pelvic floor has dropped a little bit, but I still need lots and lots of abs. So I need the most abs on that breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals after breathing into my upper rib cage. Breath in, I let that leg bone slide into the hip pocket. Breath out, I still have to be lifting about 80% or even 100% through my pelvic floor using the abdominals. Good, good. So this is where we start to touch on, you are breathing in and out. Breath in into your upper rib cage. Pelvic floor is dropped. On the breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, lots and lots of tummy, lots and lots of booty to hinge that leg up to a tabletop position. Here, I take a rest. I can drop my pelvic floor. I breathe in. I let that knee slide towards my chest so I'm not gripping through my hip flexors. Breath out, booty, 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 lots of tummy, lots of tummy, lots of tummy, lots of tummy. So I have not dropped my pelvic floor until I place that foot back onto the mat. Breath in to prepare, up into your upper rib cage. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, bum, 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 not moving those hips, not moving those hips. It takes quite a bit of abs to do this simple exercise if you're doing it right. If you're doing this and going, Jess, I don't feel anything, this is easy, it's just like da-da-da, you're not doing it right. Breath in, I let that knee slide towards my chest, that leg slides into its hip pocket. Breath out, Bum tum, lots of abs, lots of abs, lots of abs, lots of abs, and then I drop my pelvic floor. Yeah? So we need to learn to control the pelvic floor, and whether we're lifting at 100% or 80%, we do it in accordance to how much lower abdominal connection. The things to watch out for, guys. We do not want to lift our leg and have this kind of thing happen. This part of your leg should not move. You are literally hinging that leg up, like the hinge on a door, and breath out, hinging it down. If your lower leg moves, then when you put that leg down, your foot's going to be much further forward than it was when you picked it up. And you'll know there's a difference between my feet. Yeah? It can be a tricky exercise to master. Let's do one more on each side. Imagine that glass of water. Would it stay nice and stable? Beautiful. Now we can keep both legs up in a tabletop position and go into spine twist supine. This is when the breath gets tricky, guys. So it's a breath in to prepare, breath out, squeeze the booty, come up through lower abdominals, pelvic floor, and now I'm going to make sure that knee is coming towards my chest. I will not grip through my hip flexors, through the muscles of the hips and my thigh, if I let that knee slide towards me a little bit, okay? If I keep it here, it's harder for me to use my abs and not grip through the front of my thighs. So tabletop position is very hard for people to master when they first start Pilates. On the breath out, I'm going to come up through the other side. Good. Now, I'm going to squeeze these two knees together. Good. So imagine you've got a rock or something between your knees and you need to keep it there. Good. Now keep those knees towards your chest and forward of the line of your hips. If you keep them here, you're going to have to work so hard through your abs to keep them here, and you might start gripping through your thighs. Guys, your bum needs to work here as well. I've got a nice big bum, but it's a lazy bum. So knees need to be towards me, tummy needs to be on nice and strongly, and now I'm going to open up my hands. Good. I'm going to go into spine twist supine. It's a breath in. I'm going to tip my knees away. I'm going to keep my upper rib cage on the mat. Good. I can't see my feet. If I could see my feet, I would be twisting. On the breath out, push into the backs of your arms. Use lots of abs to bring it back. Make sure your knees have not crept away. Make sure your abs and your booty is working. Breath in, tip to the side. Knees are perfectly aligned. They've not slipped back. Okay, guys? They've got to tip together like you're being tipped over in a box. And on the breath out, I'm going to come back through lower abdominals to bring me back. Breath in, tip like you're being tipped over in a box. Knees are aligned, can't see my feet. If I could, I'd be twisting. Breath out, come back to center. Make sure your knees are forward. Good, towards your chest. So we're not gripping through here. I like to imagine somebody pulling my legs up towards the ceiling. A giant is pulling my legs up. That makes me work through my booty and I'm not collapsing into myself. Your bum needs to work. Your tum needs to work. You need to be pushing the backs of your arms into the mat. Then it's tip, working very strongly through sides of the waist. Here I've got 100% through the lower abdominals, through the abs to pull me back into place. Make sure the knees are towards my chest, pushing into the backs of my arms. Breath in. Here I can just drop my pelvic floor that little bit, but I've still got 80%. I've still got about 60, 70%. But on the breath out, I need all of my abs to bring me back. Yes, I do. It's a breath in, tip, tip, tip. Tip, tip, tip. This side's harder for me. That's because my hips are out a little bit. I'll start to shake soon. Breath out. Good. Flex my feet. My booty comes on a little bit more. Let's see if I can move with minimal talking. Ribcage still in the back of the mat. Good, good. Or into the mat. Breath out 100% through abs, sides of the waist to bring me back. Breath in. Tip, tip, tip to the side. Am I winging through my ribcage? Are my knees in alignment? Can I see my feet? I shouldn't see my feet because that would mean I'm twisting. And 100% through the abs. Good. Now I'm going to return those feet one at a time. Bring the knees forward, won't grip through my hips. Breath out, bum tum, bum tum, bum tum, bum tum. Breath in to prepare. Good. Now did you feel gripping through your hip flexors? Perfectly natural to feel it, guys. It could mean that your knees were sneaking away, which makes it harder not to grip into here. And it's also hard not to wing through your rib cage and really arch through the back. Something to watch out for. So, if you are tipping, and you see your feet, if I'm tipping, and I see my feet, look, I'm twisting. That's twisting. You want to tip like you're being tipped over in a box. You tip, but your back of your rib cage stays on that mat. It's a deal breaker for it to come away. You are using so much abdominals through this exercise, guys, but you are barely moving. And you can see me shaking. So you're getting into your obliques and you're getting into your transverse abdominals and rectus abdominis, your six pack. And all it is the slightest movement, but it's controlled. So you're disassociating your hips from your shoulder complex. You're able to move your hips without moving your shoulders. You're not twisting and working globally, which means you're involving the movement of all of your body. You are able to isolate your movement and focus on moving through your hip complex and controlling your alignment whilst maintaining that relaxation through upper, head, neck and shoulders, and keep that rib cage nice and knitted. So that's spine twist supine. Now, the version you could do with to keep your lower back safe if you found that you took that exercise either into your hip flexors, so you really gripped, or you woke up tomorrow with back pain because of this, have a ball underneath your feet. Magic ball underneath my feet. So if I wanted to, I could put my heels on that ball and I could tip, and bring it back. Tip, keep the rib cage into that mat and bring it back. Or I could put my toes on it. Toes might be a better idea. Just keep those knees squeezing together, guys. Tip, and bring it back. Lower abdominals, sides of the waist. And tip. Knees aligned. Let's do it again. Tip. You can see me shaking a little bit, using lots of abs right now. I'll feel this tomorrow, but that's the point of these exercises. I wanted to do these because it's time for me to get back into shape as well. And back to center. Woo! So we can use props like the ball whilst we are strengthening. Now we're going to take feet apart, heels apart. We're going to think ankles underneath, knees underneath hips. We're going to place the hands behind us and we're going to do a chest lift. So it's all going to be about tummy. Breath in to prepare up into the upper rib cage. Breath out. My elbows start to come towards one another. The muscles up underneath my arms start to activate. I draw chin to chest, head is heavy in my hands, and I come over into a chest lift. I breathe in, I try to come over a little bit more, but I've not changed my pelvic alignment. So, pubic bone and hip bone still nice and stable, still aligned, and my my neutral spine is still there as well. So breath in, I just try to draw 100% abs on. Breath out, I lay back down, relax the arms. So we don't want that pelvis rocking and rolling while we're doing this. Quite often you will see people in the gym coming up really high, and it's hard for me to come up really high because I'm so used to doing abdominal exercises the way you do in Pilates. You don't come up high. It's more about drawing your chest bone towards your pubic bone, zipping them towards one another, and keeping your hip bones and pubic bone perfectly aligned. You can come up a lot higher if you let yourself push your lower back into the mat, and you're working a lot less strong. So keep your lovely neutral pelvis, which is cutest fluffy animal underneath the small of your back. You're not going to squash it by pressing into it. You're going to draw up through pelvic floor and lower abdominals. You're going to keep hip bones and pubic bone nicely aligned if you can. Elbows start to draw towards one another. Shoulders draw down. Head is heavy in the hands. Head is heavy in the hands. Head is heavy in the hands. On the breath in, you draw yourself over a little bit more. Think 100% abs. You could touch here just above your pubic bone cough. That's where you want to feel your abdominal connection, guys. And breath out, your pelvic floor starts to drop just that little bit more, and make sure you're relaxed in head, neck and shoulders. Breath in to prepare, up into my upper rib cage. Breath out, up through lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, tummy, tummy, tummy. Head is heavy in the hands. Breath in. I try to go for 120% through abs. Breath out. I'm keeping my head heavy in my hands and return to the floor. So it's all about bringing sternum, which is your chest, towards your pubic bone. Elbows start to draw towards one another. Muscles up underneath the arms are turned on. Head is heavy in the hands. Head is heavy in the hands. Breath in. Try to come a little bit more, but hip bone, pubic bone, and they are all in alignment. And breath out. Down I go. Let's go for another 4. Up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals. Is my neck safe? Is my neck safe? Is my head heavy in my hands? Breath in. Can I draw my chest towards my pubic bone a little bit more, and down I go. Elbows, back comes on, lower abdominals here, sternum towards pubic bone, hip bone and pubic bone nicely aligned, not pressing into my lower back, and down I go. Remember, you can press your lower back into the floor if you need to keep your back safe. If your abs, they're just not firing as strongly as you'd like, and you end up with back pain. Now we're going to do little pulses here, guys. And where I'm thinking of pulsing, right above my pubic bone. But I'm going to go for another 2, 1, and lay it down. So I really struggle to keep, red hands, to keep my neck muscles from taking over the show. So even when I'm doing, say, the Pilates hundreds exercise, which is when I'm moving my arms and I'm over into a chest lift, because of the shape of my neck, and just because, well, the shape of my spine rather, I know, because I can be overactive in my, the front of my neck muscles, that I should always have a hand behind the head. So that's when I'll swap over like that. And if I fall back slightly, it's better for me to be up and over, chest towards my pubic bone as much as I can, or lay myself back down onto the mat, because if I'm on halfway land, I'm really going into my neck. So I've learned over the years not to try and compete with people around me, but to listen to my body and keep me safe. So that is a chest lift. So chest lift is very important. It's working our abs, but you can see from spine twist supine, we were working sides of the waist and lower abdominals. We were working that quite a bit. Even when we were doing imprinting exercises and holding, even before we went into imprinting exercises, holding a neutral pelvis, that was quite a strong exercise through our abdominals. We are literally using abdominals in everything we do in Pilates. So there's very little need a lot of the time just to focus on abdominal exercises, because you should have been using them all the way through. So that's the beauty with Pilates. You are able to use all of the muscles of the body whilst maintaining a strong abdominal connection in whatever exercise that you're doing. So focusing on the muscle groups, of course a pelvic curl is focusing on your hip extensors, but you start to go into a pelvic curl by initiating your movement through your lower abdominals, working through that imprint, and then coming up through your glutes into your pelvic curl. So you've started from your abs, even though pelvic curl is a exercise where you're focusing on your booty, on your hip extensors. So hip flexors, hip extensors. So now we're going to go into rolling like a ball. So let's go into lifting the legs one at a time. Bring the arms together. Arms are together through all of these exercises, guys, except spine twist supine, where we tipped the pelvis. So arms are to the sides, pushing into the backs of the arms. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, booty, 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 and booty, 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 up again. Squeeze those knees together, hands behind the head, lift pelvic floor, lower abdominals, hands come behind. Now I'm gonna get a little bit of momentum, bringing that booty off the floor, and here we go into our rolling like a ball. So breath in, I'm trying to round my lower back with my abs, and then I use enough momentum to keep me safe and stop this exercise going into my neck. So at the moment, like I've said all the way through, I'm quite out of shape. So use the abs around the back and come up through the abs. Use the abs around the back and come up through the abs, not the neck, Jess. Lower abdominals and more abdominals to come up. Use the abs and up through the abs. Round through the lower back, using the abs, and now 100% abs to come up, plus a little bit of momentum, not through the neck, J-Cat. And lower abs, and more abs, and another time, lower abs, and up. Good. So I'm working to keep galumping to a minimum. And galumping is when you're going dunk, dunk, because you're not rounding through that lower back, because you're not using enough abs. So, because of my spine shape and my shortcomings in my practice, I find rolling like a ball very hard. And when I'm in peak shape, I find it a lot easier because I'm stronger through my lower abdominals, I'm stronger through my abs, and I can really control that rounding of my lower back. At the moment, I do have to use a little bit, well, quite a bit more momentum, because I've got to keep my neck safe. You don't want to come over into a chest lift more than you should, guys, and it's actually coming from your neck. You don't want to have a picture perfect rolling like a ball, all except your neck muscles are out like this, out like Arnie Schwarzenegger. These are not our abs. These need to be relaxed. These need to do the work. These get lazy. These get lazy. This likes to do all the work. This likes to do all the work. And these like to do all the work. So it's just every day forward flexion and poor postural habits that kind of screw us up, and Pilates helps us to get out of those habits. Now let's go into side to side. So we're going to sit up nice and tall. We're going to think ribs or length between ribs and hips. Yeah. So ribs, hips, length, and I imagine my back up against an imaginary wall. Arms out to the sides, shoulders down. We don't want to, and you see me doing this? It's not because I just want to shimmy my chest, guys. It's actually because I'm trying to get the connection up underneath my arms, use the muscles underneath my arms to draw my shoulders down, draw my shoulders down. And I'm trying to touch the sides of the room while I'm sitting here. It's taking a lot of work just to sit here because I'm imagining my back coming up against an imaginary wall. I'm telling myself to turn on, crease of the bottom, hip extensors, so I'm squeezing through the booty a little bit. I'm lengthening between ribs and hips, and now I'm touching sides of the room and trying to draw my rib cage back up against an imaginary wall so I'm sitting properly and I'm not just collapsing. Okay, you want to use the right muscles. Bum, length between ribs and hips. My back's up against an imaginary wall, stronger through here because of that. Trying not to let these grip, glutes are on. And now I'm using muscles underneath my arms, not just these suckers, by reaching out to the sides of the room. On the breath in, tip, tip, tip. And breath out, press into the floor, bend that lower arm and reaching up and over. But I'm not collapsing, I'm imagining that I want to keep, I'm going to creep my arm out here, some space here. So I imagine I've got a ball here. Good, so I don't want to collapse into that arm. I'm still working through sides of the waist. Breath in, tipped over. Breath out, 100% through abs, lower abdominals to bring me back. Is my rib cage up against an imaginary wall? Have I lost the connection up underneath my arms by reaching out to the sides of the room? Breath in, tip over. Breath out, I'm not collapsing through, all my weight is not on this arm. I'm really working hard here. I'm thinking about sending that knee away. It's not allowed to come up like this, so I'm working through the glutes as well. And I drop pelvic floor just that little bit. And breath in and out 100% through the abs. Up against an imaginary wall. Stack my position between ribs and hips. Am I touching sides of the room with using the muscles underneath my arms? Breath in, breath out. Breath in, 80% through pelvic floor, 100% through lower abdominals and sides of the waist and pelvic floor. Breath in, 80% pelvic floor and abdominals, working hard, keeping that knee down, not collapsing through this side, using the muscles up underneath this arm as well, not falling forward like that and twisting. Breath in, it's all abs getting me back up there. Breath out. Breath in, tip it over, breath out, not collapsing through that side of the waist, tummy's on, tummy's on, tummy's on a lot. Breath in, we're at 80% through the abs, 80% lower abdominals and pelvic floor, 100% brings me back up. Stack, tummy, rib cage, breath in, breath out. Breath in, 80% abs, 80% pelvic floor, 100% to bring me back. So good, and relax. So we're working through our abs just to sit here. We're not collapsing and we're not letting our shoulders come up. These guys are bully. Upper traps are bullies. But your lower traps, because they come down in a V, guys, those don't get a look in. Okay, they should be enabling you to keep your shoulder complex under control. Yeah, through your day. When you reach into the fridge, you should be reaching from underneath your arms. You should not be reaching from your upper traps. That is just going to cause a whole lot of injury. You want to reach and move from the places you want. So just then, when I wanted to move from my abs and not, yeah? So that's what it's teaching us, control, holding us together and working those little muscles in between the big muscles that help to keep us strong and together and injury-free. So let's put all those exercises that we've learnt, including lateral breathing, together. Hands up underneath the shoulders, but on the upper rib cage. Yeah, let's breathe into those hands. On the breath out, let's come up through pelvic floor and lower abdominals to expel that breath fully. Let's give me another 4. Let's try and fill up those hands. Fill up sides of the rib cage. Think you've got no more breath? Just try for another 2 counts. Feel muscles you've never felt before in your upper back. And on the breath out, come up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals. Make sure that your back is up against an imaginary wall. Make sure you're using a bit of booty. You're not gripping through here. If you are, just come up and sit on and fold your legs underneath you and lengthen between ribs and hips. That's if you're gripping through here, guys. These guys are real buggers. So we need to get in control of them. Stretching them out and using the right muscles is the way we get control of them. I should know I've got footballers' legs, footballers' thighs, strong solid legs, and I like to use them for everything. It's no good. Okay, so again, up into your upper rib cage. And use your lower abdominals and pelvic floor to expel that breath. And drop the pelvic floor, breathe up into that upper rib cage. Can't breathe anymore? Try just for another 2 counts. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals. Felt so good, give me another one. Feels amazing. The world slows, you become more connected, and you stretch out and use muscles up underneath your arms and your upper back that you never knew you had. Let's sit up nice and tall, arms forward, shoulders down, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, yes. Okay, bring the toes together, toes apart, heels apart, arms to the sides, push them back into the mat. It's time to take heels of your hands, place them on your hip bones, fingertips on your pubic bone. If you had a glass of water, would it tip towards you or away from you? Nope, it's sitting perfectly aligned. Because I'm all woken up in my abdominals, because I've been doing these videos over the last couple of days, I am starting to wake up and connect here in this pudgy little area that has just decided to turn off over the last 6 years because I've changed jobs from a Pilates instructor into providing beauty treatments, and that's not good enough. I want it back. So, little rant there. So, hip bones, pubic bone, nice and aligned, glass of water, wouldn't tip towards me, wouldn't tip away, but more importantly, I'm not keeping this by arching my back or over tucking. I've got the cutest, fluffiest little critter underneath my lower back and I don't want to squash him. So, arms to the sides, let's go into some imprinting. Imprinting is when on the breath out we use all our abdominal connection to relax the lower spine towards the mat. It's a breath in to prepare. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, so much tummy, focusing on that tummy just above the pubic bone that relaxes my lower back towards the mat. You may or may not be able to see that. Breath in, I return to a neutral pelvis and more importantly a neutral spine. Arms pushing back into the mat, nice and relaxed through head, neck and shoulders. Breath in to prepare. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals. My lower back starts to relax because I've got such a strong connection and it's released my lower spine. On the breath in, I return to a neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower back just relaxes down towards that mat. And breath in, I return to a neutral pelvis, more importantly, a neutral spine. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals. Beautiful. And back to a picture perfect neutral spine. And whether it's picture perfect or not, as best a neutral pelvis as you can maintain. Let's go into a pelvic curl. Breath in to prepare. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals. Oh, lots of tummy, good. Now we're in an imprint. Let's wake up the glutes and come up into a pelvic curl. On the breath in, we're going to send our weight over our toes, more glute connection, more drawing pubic bone up towards the ceiling. On the breath out, we press into the backs of the arms and we articulate that spine one vertebra at a time back down to the mat. I check my position, I lengthen my fingertips, arms are snug with the body, breath in to prepare. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals. I'm working in an imprint now. Now I get the booty involved. Ooh, up I come into a pelvic curl. Knees aren't sliding out to the sides of the room. I draw my weight over my toes, draw up into my glutes a little bit more, pubic bone up towards the ceiling. Breath out, I articulate down one vertebra at a time and sink my spine back down to the mat. I check my position. Good. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals. Whoa, lots of tummy here, and I draw up into a pelvic curl. Good, good. I press into the backs of my arms. I bring my weight over my toes, draw that pubic bone up towards the ceiling. Give me 10 little pulses, pressing into big toe, little toe, and heel. So good. My weight is over my feet. I imagine a giant pulling my lower body towards the other side of the room, that side of the room. Give me another 3, 2, 1, and I articulate that spine all the way back down to the mat. Beautiful. Single leg lift. Breath in to prepare. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, squeeze through crease of the bottom, up into a tabletop position. Hips haven't moved. Breath in, I let that knee slide towards the chest. Breath out. I like to arch my foot because it gives me more booty, 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 tummy, tummy, tummy control. That foot went back down to where I picked it up from. Breath in to prepare. Breath out, other side, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, glutes, 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 booty, 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 arching my foot, flexing my foot rather, helps me to turn on my booty. On the breath in, the knee comes towards the chest and hips don't move. Breath out, booty, 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 tummy, tummy, tummy. Still got lots of abs, lots of pelvic floor. Don't drop it till I'm all the way down. I moved my foot a little bit there, so I had to slide it back into position. And breath in to prepare, upper rib cage. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, squeeze, 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 through crease of the bottom. That's it. It arches, or hinges rather, up into a tabletop position. Breath in, knee comes towards chest. I'm not gripping through hip flexors. Breath out, booty, 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 tummy, 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 tummy. Returns that foot to where it was picked up from. Breath in to prepare. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals. Keep those hips nice and stable, nice and stable. I flex the foot. Good. Now I'm going to hold it up here and go into side to side after bringing my next leg up into tabletop position. I take my arms out to sides of the room. I bring that leg up. I bring my knees towards my chest, glue those knees together. Wake up tummy, wake up tummy, wake up, push, push tummy. And breath in, tip, tip, tip. Like you're being tipped over in a box. Knees aren't out of alignment. Knees aren't sliding away. Rib cage is on the floor. Breath out. Lots of tummy here. Check your position. Good, good. Breath in, tip, tip, tip. Like you're being tipped over in a box. Now where's my rib cage at? Is it still drawing towards the floor? Are my knees in alignment? Breath out. Lower abdominals, sides of the waist, sides of the waist, sides of the waist, bringing me back. Relax through head, neck and shoulders. Tip, 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 like I've been tipped over in a box. I'm drawing this to the floor and making sure that doesn't come away from my chest and my knees are in alignment. Breath out, bring it back. Let's do one more each side. Breath in, tipped over in a box, rib cage to the floor, knees are still drawing towards your chest and they're in alignment. Breath out. Now, let's go into chest lift. So, knees hip distance apart. Use your booty, tummy to return it. Booty, tummy to return it. Ooh, no tension. Hands behind the head. It's a breath in to prepare, breath out. Elbows draw up towards each other. Tummy on, head, neck and shoulders nice and relaxed. I've not lost my hip bone and pubic bone being in nice alignment. Breath in a little bit further over, breath out, down I go, elbows to the sides. Keeping the neck safe is a focus here, maintaining neutral spine, neutral pelvis if you can, otherwise work in an imprint. If it's going into your lower back, that's the focus. Keeping a neutral pelvis, neutral spine, and your neck not coming on too much. Breath out, elbows draw towards one another. My upper back is drawing down my shoulders. My head is heavy in my hands, my head is heavy in my hands, my head is heavy in my hands. Breath in, try to come a little bit more. Sternum to pubic bone, it's not height, and back. Keeping a neutral pelvis and drawing sternum to pubic bone is so much more beneficial than doing hundreds and hundreds of crunches traditionally in an imprint like you see in a gym where people come up and over a lot. Breath in to prepare. Breath out, up through pelvic floor, lower abdominals, lower abdominals, lower abdominals. Breath in, try to go over a little bit more. Head is heavy in the hands, and back we go. Breath in, more abdominal connection. Breath out. 2 more. Let's go into 10 pulses. 1, 2. Now that pulse, I'm wanting to drag my chest, my sternum towards my pubic bone with these abs, with these abs, with these abs. I'm trying not to do this with my neck, with my neck, with my neck. 2, 3. Oh, I can't count, and back we go. You'll learn that Pilates instructors cannot count. Beautiful. That was my chest lift. Now let's go into rolling like a ball. Let's come up through. Single leg lift into a tabletop position. Breath out. Did that with booty and tummy. Breath out. Booty and tummy. Knees glued together. Hands behind the head. And up into a chest lift. And let's try to keep the good dumping to a minimum. So I'm holding on the backs of my calves. And I'm trying to round through my lower back with lots of abs. And then 120% abs trying to bring me back up. Relax pelvic floor, a little bit of tummy, and lots of tummy. So I relax pelvic floor just that little bit, and now I'm 100% through pelvic floor, lower abdominals to round my lower back, and 120 to come back up, and some momentum. So lots of tummy, abs, and up. So lots of pelvic floor, tummy and abs to round my lower back, and now more to come up. Lots of tummy, pelvic floor to round my back, and more abs to come up. Plus, of course, momentum. That letting your lower body, lower abs, round the back, and momentum and more abs to come up. Lower abs, lots of pelvic floor, round your lower back, and come up. Let's go one more time. You don't want to be doing this exercise with your neck. Good, good. So, guys, you can actually get off the floor very easily without any neck strain. You see people going, to come off the floor. No. Just bring your legs up, and if you send them long, the weight of your lower body will pull you up. Okay? So just little things like that. If you use your body and your weight of your legs, mine aren't so long, I went to say nice long legs, you can come up very easily with very minimal effort. So you're down, you're not feeling very strong, you want to come up quickly, you literally just send your legs long. That's the momentum you need to keep yourself safe. That is the body awareness that you need to keep yourself safe. It's not just about having a great six-pack and a great body. Of course, we want those things. It's about ease of movement, freedom of movement, controlology. That's why Joseph Pilates called it controlology. Now we're going to go into side to side. Arms go out to the sides of the room, lengthening between ribs and hips. Bit of hip extensor, so a bit of glutes, reaching towards the side of the room from underneath my arms, and I'm making my upper back come towards the wall. Yes! Lots of work just sitting here like this. Just your fingertips trying to touch sides of the room, sides of the room, sides of the room, and draw your shoulders down, whilst making sure that you don't cramp through your hip flexors, through your legs, by lengthening between ribs and hips, using your abs, and of course making sure your rib cage comes back into that imaginary room, but don't lose that imaginary wall, but don't lose that connection up underneath your arms with fingertips going out to the sides of the room, sides of the room, sides of the room, because otherwise it'll all go into here. It's a breath in, tip over, breath out. Imagine a nice ball under here, and you're coming up and over that ball. You're not collapsing. Lots of abs, even using some muscles here to keep that knee from coming up. Breath in, 100% abs. Breath out, 120% abs. Relax the shoulders, reach out to the sides of the room, assess your position, lengthen between ribs and hips, make sure you've got some hip extensors on, some glutes. Breath in, you tipped over, about 80% abs here, about 80% pelvic floor. Good, good. Breath out. I can let that pelvic floor go a little bit. I can. Make sure that I'm coming up and over that imaginary ball. Good, good, but still strong through my abs. So maybe I'm 60% abs here. Then 80% abs and pelvic floor. Then 100% abs and pelvic floor. Breath in, tip over, 80. Breath out, up and over through my abs. Imagining a ball underneath my arm so I'm not collapsing. Still working through the abs, but less so. So I'm about 60, 80. Breath in, breath out, not collapsing through that arm, not tipping forward. Breath in, breath out. What's moving me? These, not these. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. And relax down, guys. Well, let's do one more. And relax. So you've worked through lateral breathing, you've worked through neutral and pelvis and a neutral spine and how to maintain that with your abs and not your lower back. You worked into imprinting, a pelvic curl. Then you went into a single leg lift, which is when you work out that your abs and your glutes, they're able to lift your leg up in a tabletop position. It's not just about fronts of the thighs, that's a bully. That muscle will come on, but it doesn't need to be focused on. So single leg lift is you using your abs and your glutes to draw your legs up into tabletop position. You learned how hard tabletop position can be to stay in properly, not let your knees wander away. Yeah, because then you'll grip into your hip flexors. So from the single leg lift, we went into spine twist supine, which is when we used our obliques to bring us back into tabletop position, laying nice and supine. Then we tipped the hips to the side, performing a spine twist supine whilst keeping a nice relaxed upper body, and brought it back with our obliques and our lower abdominals. So you experienced how just a very small movement exercise can work your abs quite dramatically. Then we went into a chest lift, which is of course an abdominal exercise, but we're working to keep our neck nice and relaxed in our hands, and how we don't need to lift really high off the mat or push our lower back into the mat in order to allow us to come high. In fact, just bringing sternum to pubic bone whilst maintaining a neutral pelvis and a neutral spine enables us to work our abdominals so much more deeply. We went into rolling like a ball, which is when we use our abs to try and curve our lower back and try and keep our neck from taking over the exercise. It's all about control. I hope you've enjoyed these videos. Look forward to doing more for you guys. Practice them. Fundamentals of Pilates will get you through so many things, just like your day with more fluidity and ease, and playing sports and doing other activities that you love better. So, Jessica Katz Medi-Spa and Pilates. Looking forward to doing more Pilates with you soon.